Assalamualaikum everyone, this is Javeer Ahmed. This video is all about software engineering course lectures review from lecture number 1 to lecture number 25. A little intro about me. I'm Javeer Ahmed, roll number 2022 CE10, computer engineering student at UT Lahore. I'm currently in 5th semester. My main interest lies in UI UX designing, which also helped me in this course because most of the terms were like similar. So yes, you can find me at Javeria Ahmed on LinkedIn. Okay, now course overview of okay. So the first lecture was all about course overview. Here we saw the software engineering slang terms and also Toki for which is a tool for counting lines of code. Then in the second lecture, which is all about projects and processes, here we saw stakeholders, which include users, customer, client, developers, etc. Then we saw minimizing risk, which tells how we can mitigate the risk by actually having more plans and actually having more better communication with the client. Then we actually reviewed the basic process steps, and then we saw the methodologies that we can use to build a software, which include agile methodology, waterfall, etc. These are basically the stakeholders that I discussed, and they include the developers, client, customer, user, and society. This is the thing that I already told you. The development processes include planning, requirements, system interface and interface design, implementation and development, and then acceptance and release, and then maintenance. And then for software methodologies, we have waterfall model, and then we have modified waterfall model. After that, we have iterative refinement. Then we have agile, which is basically a lightweight methodology, and then we have scrum. Then for the lecture 3, we saw the main terms like we actually saw the team size, what will be the effective team size, and we saw main team member roles, which include project manager, no team leader, uh, toolsmith, and then team point of contact. Then we saw how we can have better meetings, and then what is basically the peer review, which is basically uh, the review by someone who is expert in overfield. In fourth lecture, we basically saw the planning, which is all about which includes the feasibility study. The main concept, the main things that we write in feasibility study include scope, approach, methodology, resources, schedule, risks, and alternatives. So, what are the things that we need to consider in feasibility planning? We need to consider the scope, which includes list of both included, excluded features, and list of constraints. We also review the competitor analysis. We will see this term in more detail in the detailed lecture, but here you can basically see what it basically looks like. So basically, we mostly do a competitor analysis based, and after the insights, we make this type of graph. Then we have technical approach where we see that whether project is technically physically feasible or not. Then we do estimation where we see how much time is required. Like we actually estimate how much time will be required for a task, and then after doing the task, we compare it with the estimation. Then we have agile velocity, which means projects take 30 to 40% longer time even when the requirements are well understood. Then we have milestones and deliverables, but they basically include mock-up, demonstration, prototype, report, etc. Then we have risk management, where we brainstorm and actually we must have plan B, C, and D. So if plan A fails, we apply them. This is how we can use scheduling, and we can use Gantt chart. Fifth lecture was all about requirements. So what is the purpose of requirements? We actually learn the what part of the problem, not the how part, because we see how part in the designing. Then we have heavyweight versus lightweight requirements. In heavyweight, we have detailed documentation, and we must have to formally document all the details. But in lightweight, we actually don't have to formally document all the details, and we actually can use whiteboards, etc., to write those requirements. Then we have validation and verification diagram. We will see it in detail as well. And then we have stakeholder and viewpoint analysis. Viewpoint, which means that we see whether our concepts align with our stakeholders or not. This is basically the V diagram. Here you can see that we have testing in parallel of each step. In parallel of requirement analysis, we have acceptance testing. For system design, we have system testing. For architecture design, we have integration testing, and for module design, we have unit testing, which is on a very basic level. Then in sixth lecture, we basically review requirements analysis. Then we have requirement steps, stories and scenarios, how we create stories for our project or product. Then we have usage scenarios and orientation. Orientation is basically how to learn uh, and use the product, and how to build, test, and explore code. Then in seventh, we have code forges and version control. To improve client interactions, we must have presentations as well. And then we have version control, we have branch management as well. Code review, here we have branches and commits, which we see in uh, repositories on GitHub. Then we have merge strategies as well, which include like linear, etc. Then we have code review, which includes peer review. Then in ninth, we have models. Here we have in model perspectives, we have external interaction, uh, external, internal, and structural behavioral, and then we have use cases which define tasks with external interactions. That basically how the user will be using the product, and then we have behavioral models in detail. Then in 10th, we see architecture. We focus on architecture, UX, and program design. Program design will also see this topic in 16th lecture. Infrastructure, interfaces, services, and operations aim for high cohesion and low coupling in groupings. Basically, high cohesion means the code rely on itself rather, and low coupling means lowering the dependencies. Then we have client server, layered and pipe and filter architectures. Then in 11th lecture, we see three-tier architecture, and we also see virtualization, which include topics like containers, serverless, etc. And then we see deployment concerns. In 12th lecture, we have presentations and UX. Presentations, we also discussed this heading in the 7th lecture. Sorry. And then we have planning for presentations, how to plan for the presentation. We basically see our audience and etc. Then we have topics, and then yes, we have user experience. In user experience, we see these six main terms, which include overview, which basically tells us what is UX all about. Then we have terminologies, what are user interface, what are user experience, and what is HCI, human computer interaction. Then we have usability requirements, that we have to see the client's opinions, observing users. Focus group, it basically includes 10 to 15 members, which of the age group, which will be using the product in future. Accessibility, we have also have to see accessibility issues, because uh, a UX must be usable, enjoyable, equitable, and useful. Then we have dark patterns. We also see these terms. in the 12th lecture detailed video. Then we have UI prototypes, which include paper sketches, wireframes, etc. We will also see the prototypes, actually the operational prototype in the 12th lecture detailed video. Then we have 13th lecture, which is also on user experience. Here we see the models, which include user and system models. Then we have model mismatch, design principles, design choices, that whether we should use text or graphics, and then we will see different types of web and mobile interfaces. Then 14th lecture we will have analyze, design, build, evaluate loop. Then standards of usability, which include effectiveness, efficiency, satisfaction, user testing stages, analyzing the measurements that we get from user testing, and then code tracing. In 15th lecture, which is all about web app frameworks, we basically see Django, then we see object versus relational database, then we see entity, ERM, basically, and then we see CRUD in SQL, HTTP, Django, etc. So then we have program design, which basically includes program design models. Then we will have structural static modeling. Static modeling basically includes viewing the code from the code only without running it. Here we see the classes, and here we have noun identification. Uh, Then we have dynamic modeling, which basically includes the running of the program, and we see different terms, which we will see also in the next lectures. Then we have design patterns. Uh, Design patterns basically include observer pattern, and in the 17th lecture we have more design patterns, which include builder design pattern, factory method, RAII, singleton pattern, composite pattern, visitor pattern, and facade pattern. Dynamic analysis and testing part 1. Here we see style guiding, automation, probability, then testing, and then Beyonce rule. And after that, we will see SQLite. In 19th lecture, we have dynamic analysis and testing part 2. Then we have kinds of testing, which includes first testing and many other. Then we have random numbers, and we also see the behavior driven development. And in the next lecture, which is lecture number 20, we have dynamic analysis part 3, which include continuous integration, which means we continuously integrate the code as well as we are developing it, and we also use tools for it. Then we have dynamic analysis tools. We will also see them, which include debugger, etc. Then we have first testing, and then we have performance bug. And in 21st lecture, we will see build systems and dependencies, which include Amdhal's law, profiling, monitoring, SOC testing, build systems, and state-of-the-art Bazel. Then in the next lecture, dependency management. Dependencies, repository mirrors, dependency problem, SEMVer, which is semantic variant, and then we have compatibility, and then we have life at head or live at head. Then we have delivery in the 24th lecture, and here we see vulnerabilities and releasing of the software. Licensing and legal considerations. Here we have legal context, software licensing, patent, and trade secrets. Patent and trade secrets basically means patent means that the thing that is produced by or the style that is used by one uh, company, it cannot be used by another company, or you have to pay for it. So this is all for the lectures. uh, Thank you so much.